All right, now that each of our students has their own unique student ID, we can start forming relationships.
Relationships? Are they going to hold hands?
Not that kind of relationship. A relationship describes how one or more entities interact with each other. Usually this is described with a verb. We're going to create a link between the entity student and the entity phone number, so that when we create the database, we can easily find the contact information for each student instead of filtering through rows of numbers.
Sounds beneficial. How do we do this exactly?
In the diagram we're working with now, we are going to show the association between student and phone number using a verb. A student has a phone number.
Seems pretty straightforward. Just draw a line between entities showing they are connected through a relationship.
Yes. However, relationships can be between two instances of entities, or maybe a lot of instances, or maybe you don't even need an instance. This complex idea is explained through cardinality.
Oh, so we're not going to a sporting event?
Sorry to disappoint. Moving on. Cardinality is the count of instances that are allowed or are necessary between entity relationships.
Okay, that one is a little hard to grasp.
Let me simplify then. Remember how entities will be tables, and an instance of the entity is a row in the table? Cardinality just tells us how many rows we need from one table before we can link it to another table.
So
let's go back to our student phone number relationship. A student can have 0, 1, or multiple phone numbers, right? But each phone number must belong to a student.
yeah, I can see why you wouldn't want to have a phone number in the database unless it belongs to a student.
Exactly. Now, cardinality is broken down into two parts, minimum and maximum. Minimum cardinality represents the minimum number of instances that are required in the relationship, and maximum cardinality represents the maximum number of instances that are allowed.
Wait, so the types of cardinality are what?
Minimum tells us the fewest number of rows we need for a relationship, and maximum tells us we cannot exceed a certain number of rows in our relationship. An easy way to represent cardinality on a diagram is through crow's foot notation.
Crow's foot? You mean like the bird?
It kind of looks like its foot at least. There are 4 different ways to represent cardinality using crow's foot notation. 1 mandatory means that you must have at least one and only one instance. Many mandatory means that you must have at least one, but you can have several instances. 1 optional means that you don't have to have an instance, but if you do, you can only have one. Many optional means that you don't have to have an instance, but if you do, there is not a limit on how many instances you can have.
So the mandatory versus optional refers to the minimum, and the one versus many refers to the maximum?
That's right.